right, you're on.
Okay, hi guys, my name's Ashley, and I'm riding in an Uber this morning with my guide dog, Vaughn. And one of the things that's so awesome about this morning is that I didn't have any difficulties accessing the Uber with my guide dog. So sometimes what happens is that sometimes rideshare operators aren't aware of the fact that guide dogs are specially trained to accompany passengers who are blind, and sometimes that can give people who are blind difficulty accessing rideshare with their guide dogs, which is a shame because it's such a great option for being able to get around the city if there's someplace you have to go without transportation or someplace that's new to you. So it can really, rideshare services can really improve accessibility for us, but not if we have access difficulties with our guide dogs. So it's always a good morning for me when I get a driver who is familiar with the fact that I have a guide dog and is fine with that, and I always really appreciate it. So if you're driving with ride shares, the guide dog just lies on the floor in the car quietly, and they are welcome as of the law in Canada and all services the public has access to.
So a couple of things, like I knew because I got a message from you. I don't know how you sent the message, but yeah.
I always let drivers know, partially because if people are going to give me a hard time, that gives me a little bit of an advanced warning.
Right.
And sometimes we can use that to report the incident to Uber just to kind of improve that driver's training and education and stuff like that.
So how do you send the message out? I'm just curious.
Oh, so I use an iPhone, which all iPhones have VoiceOver, which is a screen reading software built in because Apple is big on built-in accessibility.
Right, and you can navigate the app itself with just voice commands as well.
You can, or you can kind of, if you swipe your finger around the screen and touch items on the screen, the phone will tell you what they are.
I see.
So where a sighted person would tap the item to select it, when someone who's blind taps the item, the screen reader reads it, the name to them, the icon.
And then you have a voice command.
Click it to open
I see. Okay. Well, here's my question to you now: is so you said this is a good example of a good morning. So what is a bad morning?
So sometimes a driver will just cancel the trip.
How? Like when they see you with the dog, they'll be
either when they see me or when they get my message, they'll cancel the trip.
Okay.
Which also makes it a little bit difficult to report that the incident that happened because then the trip no longer exists.
I think you still can if you really wanted to, because there is a record of canceled trips.
Yeah, you have to kind of fill out a form and contact somebody, and typically I'll take a screenshot after I've sent a message because it makes it a little bit more clear.
Yeah, you would have a lot of records that you wouldn't otherwise
have. It's a very kind of fiddly process.
Yeah, I'm sure you wouldn't want to do this after first, second, third time, right? It just gets annoying.
Yeah, it's no fun, and sometimes you'll end up in a situation where you have to call for another trip, and
that has its own difficulties, I assume.
It does, and sometimes depending on if it's at nighttime and it's busy and things like that, I've had situations where surge pricing is activated. So
yeah, I can see how
my next trip costs more because all of a sudden the demand is up and surge pricing is on.
I'm not certain about this, but I feel like you yourself could instigate that surge because you are now a repeat customer from a location that isn't very busy. I'm not sure if it works exactly like that, but I kind of feel like it would, which is obviously unfair, but such is the world, right?
These things happen. It's just because the system's not set up to notice this type of issue.
So how often would you say, like percentage-wise, you get cancellations on you?
So when I first started accessing rideshare services, it used to happen like basically every other time that I tried to access.
Every other time.
And then I noticed personally, so lots of other people that I'm aware of continue to have issues, and it really depends on the city.
Mm-hmm.
But since this past fall, I've noticed it get a lot better. So I don't know if people are just becoming more aware, or if some of the public awareness work that people have done.
I'm pretty sure Uber sent us a message too about guide dogs a little while ago. I didn't really read into it. Right now I'm just like barely recollecting if this is even a fact, but I feel like I did receive something from Uber, some sort of notification.
Well, that's helpful for people because then they know. I mean, I'm sure before it was buried in some giant terms of service that you might,
or not there at all.
They just have a giant mass of stuff to read. Or it's just not covered. It's been in all kind of transportation companies kind of have it in their policy.
Right.
That they accept guide dogs, but just because it's in the policy doesn't mean that staff have had the chance to know what it's about or things like that.
And like with Uber, like you can basically cancel at any time for any reason you want, right? So it's not like I have to go in there and be like, I don't want this
Explain
person because they have
yourself.
a dog, right? I could be like, oh, I don't want to take the trip. I'm tired. Something like
Yeah.
that, right?
So one incident I have, which actually was with a taxi company, I was in a different city and I finished work and I needed to catch the train home.
Mm-hmm.
And the taxi company basically said, we'll send someone when someone feels like coming. We can't tell you how long it will be because we have to wait till someone feels like coming to take the guide dog.
So you have to let them know ahead of time. Hey guys, I have a dog with me, and they're gonna be like.
You have to tell them, but if you don't, you risk someone showing up and then just
bailing on you.
Yeah.
Man, that sounds
all
rough.
kinds of crazy things. You're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place.
But you've had people drive up to your house, see you, and then be like, sorry, I'm gone.
Yeah, no dogs, and then they drive off. Or they see me and then they like pretend they weren't there and then they drive off.
Have you asked like someone who's saying no, like why don't you want me in, or do you just not bother?
Sometimes people just use the blanket, like, oh, I have allergies. Like all people who, I'm sure there are people who have allergies for sure.
Right.
And that's something we can work around. The procedure in that case is that we would call for another operator and then the person would wait there until that person has taken over the kind of chain of custody.
Right.
But because there are legitimate medical situations where people need people's rights need to be protected.
Yeah, but I think the
But,
percentage of people with dog allergies
there's not that
is
many
too
people.
minute. Yeah.
And I have had people admit that they're they know they have to take the dog, but they're afraid of dogs. And then I always talk with them about it, and we make a plan. Of
afraid of a service dog of all things.
It's not going to touch you. It's going to be over here,
Yeah.
and we'll do things to kind of.
What if this service dog mauls me to death?
Yeah, they're
What then?
kind of big teddy bears, and sometimes I think it's just people don't understand sometimes what a service dog is and the amount of training they've had to deal with the public.
Correct.
We only use dogs that are still properly trained service dogs who behave themselves in public and things like that.
So another follow up. So you said typically you'll get cancellations and people driving off. Do you have any examples of people who didn't cancel on you, who got in the car and it was a bad experience from that point forth, or no?
No. Usually, if someone's happy with taking us, or at least knows they have to take us.
Okay.
Sometimes they'll ask the odd question about the dog, people will be like, "Oh, does your dog bite?" Or "Is your dog?" People think that sometimes we have the dog with us to protect us.
Right.
And that's not they're not guard dogs. That's not their role. And so often you can just explain a little bit about what it is that a guide dog does, and the fact that they're friendly and they like being around people.
All right. Well, thanks for sharing that. I feel like as small as my channel might be right now, someone's gonna come across this at some point and learn something. You're kind of helping the situation in a sense.
Yeah,
so that's great.
It's much easier if I can, prevent someone else from dealing with some goofy stuff that I've had to deal with.
Yeah.
And that's good for me.
No, that's great. Thanks a lot.